As a former SVP and head of HR from the Fortune 500 world, I want to say something that might be uncomfortable, but if you're ambitious, you absolutely need to hear this. Most people who aren't getting promoted into the roles that they want are not underperforming. They're simply blocked, and they're blocked by things that nobody ever explains. You're never going to hear this from HR or from your manager because these are rules that are not written down. They're what I call the 7 silent gatekeepers to promotion. And I spent over 20 years inside Fortune 500 companies. I've sat in thousands of rooms where promotions were being decided, and I can tell you this with absolute certainty. Promotions are not decided by effort. Promotions are not decided by loyalty, and they are definitely not decided by being the most dependable person on the team. Promotions are decided by whether you pass these silent 7 gatekeepers. So let's break them down. Gatekeeper number 1 is perception. And this is where most high performers go wrong because they think they're being evaluated on their output, on their results, on how hard they work. But at the senior level, decision makers are evaluating something very different. They're looking to see if you're calm under pressure, if you're actually connecting the dots between your team's work and that of the broader organization. They're looking to see what relationships you have and what your reputation is. They're looking at your team. Do people actually like working with you and for you? Because here's the brutal truth. Perception beats performance once you're past a certain level in the organization. And I've watched people with weaker resumes get promoted because leadership felt safer with them in the role. If decision makers don't already see you as a future peer, you're not going to get the role, no matter how good your work is. Gatekeeper number 2 is credibility. And this one surprises people. Credibility is not about competence. Will they actually get it done? It's about judgment. The real question decision makers are asking behind closed doors is, would I trust this person to make decisions without me in the room? Judgment shows up in what you escalate to leadership versus what you handle on your own, how you frame trade-offs, whether you see the business implications down the road, not just what is going to happen to your team and your function. High performers, those that are excellent at their job and experts in their craft, often drown executive teams in details. Executives don't want the detail. They want discernment. Gatekeeper number 3 is communication ability. And this is one of the biggest blockers I see. Your communication might be clear, but it's still signaling the wrong level. Managers tend to explain themselves, and leaders, on the other hand, synthesize data points and show a broader understanding of the bigger picture. So if you tend to over-explain and you walk people through every step and you speak tactically instead of strategically, you may sound capable, but probably not promotable. And this is why a lot of strong performers hear, hey, you're doing great, you're just not quite ready for that next role. When what they're really saying is, you still sound like a doer, not a decider. Gatekeeper number 4 is emotional regulation. This one is really subtle, but incredibly powerful. How do people feel after interacting with you? Are they calm? Are they grounded? Are they clear? Or do they feel tense and rushed and maybe overwhelmed? Senior leaders promote emotional control. They don't promote emotional leakage. So even if you're polite, even if you're very nice, if your energy signals urgency and frenetic energy and reactivity or people pleasing, leaders are unconsciously reading that as risk. Can we trust that person in a crisis or not? Gatekeeper number 5 is political savvy. And this is where so many high performers that I speak with quietly sabotage themselves because they'll say things like, I hate politics. I don't play politics. I just want my work to speak for itself. I don't want special treatment. But here's the truth from inside the room. Promotions are risk decisions, right? They're not reward decisions. Those getting promoted are trusted by the right people. If you don't understand who has the influence, who is shaping the narrative behind closed doors, how decisions actually get made, you're not playing the game, you're being played by it. Gatekeeper number 6 is identity. And this one hits close to home for a lot of people because the identity that made you successful today often becomes the thing that holds you back from that next level. A lot of high performers see themselves as the fixer, the hero, the hardest worker on the team. But true executive leadership is not about being indispensable in the weeds. It's about being trusted with direction. People don't get promoted by staying comfortable in their identity as the smartest person on any given topic. They get promoted by signaling an identity of a senior leader. Finally, gatekeeper number 7 is sponsorship. This is the final gate and the silent killer. You can be respected and liked and high performing and still stall without sponsorship. And by sponsorship, I'm talking about the informal relationships that you have with decision makers where they trust and respect you enough to speak highly of you behind closed doors. This usually is not your direct manager, but another decision maker somewhere in the ecosystem with whom you've interacted and who will vouch for you when you're not around. The bottom line here is that promotions happen in the rooms that you are not invited to yet. And if no one is advocating for you when you're not there, your name will not move forward. Remember, managers coach, sponsors vouch, and without that, careers plateau. So here's the big takeaway. If even one of these gatekeepers is closed, you will stall. Not because you're a bad performer, not because you're failing, not because you don't belong in executive leadership, but because promotions require alignment across all 7. If this video made you a little bit uncomfortable, good. That's usually the moment clarity starts to shift and you start to see yourself differently and leaders start to see you as ready now for promotion. If you want help diagnosing which gatekeeper is blocking you, click on the link below and watch my free masterclass where I break down the top 3 gatekeepers in much more detail and show you exactly how to avoid getting stalled by them. And if this video resonated, subscribe and share it with somebody who's been told they're doing great, but nothing's ever changing. Cheers to your success.